Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this very much put off review of the Martin OXK Concert Ukulele. I've had this for a long time, and in fact I've had it longer than Barry Maz had his on God and Ukulele when he reviewed his. So I had this before that time and didn't get around to reviewing it, and haven't reviewed it until now as well. This is March of 2024. And in fact, I basically just took an entire month off from creating content. I'll make a podcast or something to talk about that. Nothing bad, just been super busy with school, making a lot of materials for school. So that said, this is finally my review of this, and partially because I've been asked to compare this to the close carbon fiber ukulele as well. So I wanted to review this one before I compared it. Now, this one has appeared on this channel before. About a year ago, my son, who's now 11, was 10 at the time, helped me go through my entire stack of entry-level ukuleles. And this one, from a playing and sound experience, I rated the highest. And I was aware of which one it was, even blindfolded, just by the feel of it. That said, you might be surprised at what you see in this review as well. So I've been working on this for a while. I had everything ready in January and just didn't get around to recording it. Now, when you buy this right now, you get the instrument. It's currently $349 list price. And then you also get a Martin gig bag. Now, the Martin gig bags, I'll just say this, they're totally functional, especially for an HPL ukulele. They're well padded, but they are lacking some features that are nicer to have. The handle is nice with that extra pad there. The shoulder strap is not cushioned or doesn't have like a shoulder pad on it. It really should at this point in time. And it also doesn't have a pad at the bottom or hook to hang it. And that does make that bag lesser than many less expensive instruments that are on the market. So if there's anything for Martin to do, I would just up the bag game a little bit for that regard. Meanwhile, what we'll do with this rest of this video is I will go through subjective categories that I do on all instruments. Then I will go through the specifications, and then I will give this instrument a UkeGuide rating and a summary of the instrument. If you don't want to listen to me talk, because these are long videos, they're long form videos with the hopes that somebody that is either looking at buying one new or down the road that doesn't know much about them has a good source of information, because these videos will stay on YouTube potentially forever. And if you search Martin OXK Concert, hopefully this video and Barry Maz's pop up and you can inform yourself about it down the road if these are ever used as well as new. So that's why I take the time to go through long format. But if you don't want to sit through that whole thing, you can just go to my website or blog, which is UkeStuff.info, and go to the UkeGuide page and just look up this instrument alphabetically in the list of the over 150 different instruments that have been reviewed there. Also, I should mention that I bought this one used for my own purposes. I am a Martin fan. I'm a ukulele fan. I would guess you can probably guess that. But nonetheless, I do like Martins, and I have, I think it's 3 Martins in my collection. I have an S1, I have this OXK Concert, and I also have a Model 2 full mahogany concert that I bought used as well. I'll eventually probably buy the C1K, another Mexican-made Martin in the future. Probably will, just knowing my own habits. But this one came across and it was, I don't know, the person wanted around $200 shipped for it when they were selling for about $300 new. And since then, Martin has raised the price of this, not changed the model at all, but just raised the price. Again, it's the economy, right? So as I review this, you just know that it wasn't sent to me by Martin for review. It's just my own review of an instrument that I bought myself. So let's go through the subjective categories. First of all, cost. At $349, it's out there. That's expensive for what you're getting. An HPL ukulele with a Martin gig bag. I only know of 2 other companies selling HPL at this moment. Enya sells HPL ukuleles, And then also Bonanza will make you an HPL ukulele if you can talk Pete Mai into making you one. Or you can find used Bonanzas out there as well. There may have been some other companies that have made HPL ukuleles, but Martin was making sopranos, and in fact, as of the recording of this video, there is one remaining Martin HPL soprano available, the Life is Good ukulele, that sells for the same price as this. So ultimately, this is Martin's cheapest ukulele at $349. And they've done a good job with it overall. We'll talk about those details as we go, but it is $349. Now, in terms of value, it isn't a great value. The price exceeds the value on this, and I'm not saying it's not a good instrument. What I'm saying is the price exceeds the value. You can go buy that same Enya HPL concert with a full kit with a better gig bag for $119 or less, depending on what the sale is at the time, the X1 series concert. That is a better deal by far. The Martin might be the slightly better instrument, but it is not 3 times better than the Enya. So if you're looking for an HPL instrument and you're not connected to the Martin brand, I would send you to the Enya HPL. And if you're looking for a custom instrument, then I would send you to Pete Mai and Bonanza ukuleles. But if you are a Martin fan like I am, this may also appeal to you as a Martin that is more or less indestructible. Now, in terms of build quality, I don't really have any complaints about this instrument or any of the Martins that I've seen from Mexico. I just recently read that a rather famous ukulele dealer in the United States is no longer going to be doing business with Martin, which is heartbreaking because they've had some quality control issues, not only with the ratio plastic Tonal tuners, but also with bridges popping off and so forth. That's been put out there. I'm not trying to spread gossip or anything that's out there, but nonetheless, the Martins that I've had, the Mexican-made Martins, have been excellent. And just to give you a quick look over, and we'll talk about appearance in a second, what you have is you have laminate, or HPL, high pressure laminate, which is basically sheets of plasticized paper, making sort of a plywood of sorts of that, and then a birch neck, and it's laminated birch, and you can see the stripings in that, and then the fretboard is Sipo mahogany there, as I think is the very diminutive Martin-like bridge down there, and then you have Grover tuners on the top. The build from the outside is flawless, and it should be. There's no binding. The black that you see is just the edge of the HPL. A real dead giveaway for HPL is that it's black rather than layered like a sandwich of laminated wood. So that's a real giveaway there. And it does make it sort of look like it has a finished edge, but it doesn't. And they do have it nicely angled with that finish as well. The other thing that's kind of crazy with this HPL ukulele is that it's braced like a traditional ukulele. So let's go take a look at that right now. One of the things I do in these reviews is I use an endoscope to take a look at the inside of the instrument. So let's do that. So there's the label. You can see the OXK Concert Uke, number 6691, made in Mexico. And you can see that there's a traditional horizontal brace down there. As we go further in, there's another brace down there. You can see notch kerfing. You can see it's very cleanly built, which it should be for that price point. And then as we scooch back, you can see that there's actually some extra bracing appears of the HPL on the inside, as well as your bridge plate underneath. And you can see it's just very cleanly built. All right, let's take a look at the upper bow. Okay, looking at the upper bow, there's your neck block, there's your notch kerfing, very cleanly built, and that's pretty much all there is to see. And that's our quick look at the inside of the Martin OXK Concert Ukulele. All right, now let's talk about appearance. In Martin terms, going from 0 to 5, is 0 is plain, 5 is maxed out, blinged out. This is a 0XK, which means that it has a koa print. That's what all the back sides look like. So it has a koa HPL print, and it's a concert. So in terms of appearance, I think it's pretty attractive. I know that Barry Maz has talked about if you're gonna do a HPL, why not do something crazy? But also for traditionalists, that appeals to me as well. I wouldn't mind a mahogany pattern HPL for my own preferences because I like Martin mahogany ukuleles. And then, of course, I've already talked about this birch neck, which is just, that striping is just so striking. Striping. And then fortunately, they do away with the sticker on the headstock on this model. So it's actually in that print, which is really nice because my S1 has that gold sticker that looks so cheap on it. So that's nice that that's on there. And other than that, there is a transfer rosette there, and it's otherwise pretty plain in appearance. So very plain, but I really do like that neck. And I not only like that neck for its appearance, but its functionality, which we will get to when we talk about playability. In terms of availability, you can order one of these from Martin Dealer right now. In terms of playability, this is a very playable ukulele. I find that Martins are very comfortable to play. It is a 35mm nut, so people that don't like a 35mm nut are not going to like it. But anybody that does like a 35mm nut, and that's many concerts, the mass majority of concerts, there are some exceptions, this neck is very, very narrow and not C-shaped like so many imported ukuleles. So it is so comfortable to play up here at this part of the neck. I did have some sharp fret ends that I had to deal with, but that was easily taken care of. So that's not a game changer for me, and I don't know if the ukulele came like that or if it dried out like that. But nonetheless, this is a very, very comfortable instrument to play, and the action is pretty close to what I would like. It could perhaps come down a touch, but it's acceptable for me and when I play it. And I do like taking this one to school because I don't need to worry about it with my elementary students around me. Now, in terms of sound quality, if you're expecting to hear a koa or a mahogany Martin, you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you're listening for a laminate tone, this has, I think, a very, very good tone. It does have a little bit of laminate HPL, but laminate sort of tubbiness to it. But it has lots of overtones, and it has a good sound. The best sounding laminates I played are Kiwaya's, but this is not at that level, but it's still a good sound. So it has that little bit of like cavernous warmth that you equate with a laminate ukulele, but it also has lots of high end and a very shimmering G overtone just on the open C chord. So it's a little darker with that sort of that laminate sound, but the volume is good and the sound is acceptable. Another thing I do in these reviews is I let you see what is happening with the Harmonic Energy series using the app Tonal Energy Tuner. So I'll play the C chord into my iPad and let you see what's happening. Yeah, so as you can see, that low end really lasts a long time. It's well balanced at the start, and there's a lot of sustain, and there are overtones occurring as well. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories of the instrument, let's get into the specifications. This is a concert ukulele with a measured scale length of 15.0625 inches from nut to saddle. There are 17 frets with 12 to the body, and there are side position markers at 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15. And on the front, you have a marker at the 5th, a small dot, very small dot, 2 at the 7th, and 1 at the 10th as well. The body style is a traditional double bout. The soundboard and back and sides are all laminate HPL, high pressure laminate. The fretboard is Cibo mahogany, and it turns out that I was wrong about the bridge earlier. This bridge is Murado, a slightly different word, and it is a slotted bridge. The fretboard is not radius. The nut and saddle here are tusk, and it is a compensated saddle. The finish is a satin finish. It's just part of that HPL finish to it. The overall length is 23.375 inches, and it weighs 1 pound, 2 ounces. It has Grover friction tuners, and the action at the 1st fret was 0.62 millimeters, so a touch high, and the action at the 12th fret was 2.66 millimeters. The nut width was 35.30 millimeters, and the space between strings at the 1st fret was 9.46 millimeters, which is 31.20 G to A. So it's actually pretty roomy spacing on that fretboard, even though it is a 35 millimeter nut. And the depth of the neck at the 3rd fret was only 19.25 millimeters from the top of the string to the bottom of the neck, and it is a shallow D-shaped neck up there, and it is just a joy to play. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories and the specifications, let's summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. Several years ago, Martin introduced an HPL soprano that came in several colors onto the market, and they still offer a Life is Good soprano ukulele for $349. High pressure laminate is sort of layers of plasticized paper that are sealed together. It's very impervious to temperature changes and weather conditions and water. It's what countertop material is made of. So the Martin OXK Concert only comes in this Koa print. It is currently also $349, making it Martin's least expensive ukulele if you want to get into a Martin. It has Martin looks, it has Martin playability, in generally an indestructible format, and it has a good sound, but not the sound of a traditional wood Martin, which makes sense. I have seen a couple pictures of the soundboard dipping on an OXK Concert. That is not the case with this model, and there have again been some recent discussions about quality control standards with Martin. Just sharing that, just look it up if you're curious and interested in buying. Now, with this instrument, there are only 3 problems with it in my mind. The first is that the bag could use some updating for just some things that would make it a better bag. Second, I know that there are ukulele aficionados who say that you can only have friction tuners, and friction tuners must be used on everything. But this is an entry-level concert ukulele. They made the Model 2 with geared tuners. I just would have preferred had they had gone with geared tuners on this. And truthfully, as soon as I'm done with this review and the comparison with the close carbon fiber, I'm going to be switching to other tuners. I have not yet decided what those tuners are going to be, but I don't necessarily like the frustration of dealing with a friction tuner. I know they work. I know they're very good. That said, I want to show you a couple things. This one is broken, if you see that. And I also have a spot where the nut is chipped off here. And I'm not sure when that happened. It does not impact the functionality of this instrument in any way. But there are some others that damage right there. Yep, and then the broken tuner. Maybe it hit something or something and I never noticed. Doesn't matter to me. It works fine. I got it for a discount. I'm happy. It's wonderful for school. It sounds good for what it is, and it's a Martin that I can take anywhere and not have to worry about, which is really beneficial. The final issue that I have with this instrument is the price. At $349, it's just too much. I know it has the Martin name, but at the same time, you can, again, buy an Enya X1 concert for $119 and probably less than that, and get a better kit and an instrument that isn't that far off from what this is. That's the only other negative, is that I wish this instrument were better priced. I wish they had not raised it another $50 with the new year, with new prices. So what rating would I give this instrument? Mainly because the sound is still clearly laminate for an HPL. The price, the tuners, I mean, I would want to replace them, and the bag improvements, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. You could go up to a 4.5. I'd be fine with that. I think it's really safe at a 4 out of 5, which means if you're interested in one of these, absolutely go buy one. Do make sure that you buy from someone that will make sure that the action is good. Again, I'm not sure what the history of this one was before I bought it. It was relatively new when I did, so I think it was the first owner, but I'm not sure what their history was in buying it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 ukuleles. In the future, very near future, I'll be comparing this to the close carbon fiber. So if you're interested, check out that video. And finally, before I go, just want to say, if you want to support the work in this channel, there are 3 things you can do. First of all, you can like the video. Second, you can subscribe to the channel. And third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. All right, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.